Hello, I'm Jeremiah Swiss with the Sports Station blog, here to talk to you today about the 2013 NBA Draft with a recap. The Cavs, with the first pick, they selected Anthony Bennett, and I just absolutely hate this pick. I think he's a bit overrated, and I just don't think he's going to do much for them. And I see what they're doing, but they already have Tristan Thompson, and I don't like how he's going to fit with Kyrie and Dion Waiters. Bennett, I saw him play in one of the tournament games, and I just didn't find him that good. He wasn't asserting himself, and he just kind of was just, another guy on the court. And then number 2 pick, the Magic took Victor Oladipo out of Indiana. And I like Oladipo. He's athletic. He's a hard worker. His offense is improving. He was always a good defender, but his offense is steadily improving. He's getting better at shooting. He can do a little bit of it all. And I think he'll be one of the best players out of this draft. With the 3rd pick, the Washington Wizards selected Otto Porter out of Georgetown. I like Porter. He can do a little bit of everything. Guard the likes of LeBron and Melo, hopefully, for the Wizards. I see what the Wizards are trying to do. I like it with Beal, Wall, Porter. I think Porter will be another one of the best players out of this draft. With the 4th pick, the Bobcats picked Cody Zeller, and I hate this pick. Worst pick in the draft, if you ask me. Cody Zeller is not the answer. I find him weak and overrated. They say he runs the floor good. I just didn't see it. I watch a lot of Big Ten games, and against the likes of like Mitch McGary and stuff, banging and bruising down low with him, I just didn't see Zeller as physical enough with Mitch McGary. How's he going to handle Dwight Howard and Roy Hibbert in the NBA? Horrible pick. Fire MJ right now, even though he's the owner. Get him out of there. 5th pick. Phoenix selected Alex Len out of Maryland. And, he's tall center. A lot of people don't know a lot about him. He's getting, he has some game, but he has to develop it, and Phoenix might be a good place for him. They have good trainers down there, and, it might be a good place for him because they're not going to be anywhere for a few years. With the 6th pick, New Orleans selected Nerlens Noel, but he was then traded to Philadelphia for Drew Holiday and some other players. And, that was too much. I like that New Orleans got Drew Holiday for New Orleans. But as far as Philadelphia goes, I don't know. I wouldn't have given up that much for him. With the 7th pick, the Kings selected Ben McLemore. Excellent pick. Excellent pick for the Kings. And if you ask me, I think the Kings had a nice draft grabbing Ray McCollum in the 2nd round out of Detroit. And I like McLemore. He's good. He's not always assertive, but at the 7th pick, you're getting value because he could have been the 1st or 2nd pick. And the 8th pick, the Detroit Pistons, my hometown team, they messed up. I'm just going to say that. The pick should have been McCollum or Burke. Instead, they take Kentavious Caldwell Pope, out of Georgia, when they could have had the Naismith Player of the Year in Trey Burke. Fans would have went crazy. I myself was irate. But, Caldwell Pope, he can shoot it, but he's not much more than that. He's long, he's athletic, but he's not necessarily a driver, and he can't create his own shot, and that's a problem. He seems almost like a taller Brandon Knight, and I just don't like the pick at all. 9, the Wolves selected Trey Burke, but then he was traded to the Jazz. So I'm going to assess this pick for the Jazz. I love this pick. Trey Burke's the real deal. He's not going to be as good as Chris Paul, but he can shoot it, he can drive, he can get to the rim. He plays great defense. I think Burke will be one of the best players out of this draft, the best point guard by far. I just like Burke's game, and that's not because I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of his, but I also just think he's just good. What else do you want me to say? He's clutch. He can do it all. The only thing I have criticized him a little bit is, for fans who haven't watched him, he's not as clutch as you may think. Because over his 2 years, I watched him miss a few big shots. Like his freshman year at Arkansas, it was a bad shot, but that 30-footer against Kansas was a beauty. C.J. McCollum, 10 to the Blazers. Love this pick. Him and Damian Lillard are going to kill it together. McCollum can do a little bit of all. I don't consider him a point guard, but he can shoot it. and I like his game a lot. Especially when I saw him play against Duke when he was on Lehigh. I like that. Michael Carter Williams out of Syracuse. Big, tall, athletic, long guard. He can pass it. His scoring isn't there, but if he learns to score and shoot, he could be a problem in this league. But I think Michael Carter Williams, actually Philly didn't select him. I think he was traded. I'm not sure. I think he was traded with... No, actually I think Philly has him. Excuse me. With the 12th pick, Oklahoma City Thunder selected Steven Adams. Big, tall center out of Pittsburgh. He's really raw. Go to the D-League or sit out on OKC bench and, learn. On the 13th pick, the Mavericks selected Kelly Olynyk, but he was traded to the Celtics. I don't think Kelly's that good, personally. He's weak. His scoring, it might work in the conference Gonzaga plays in, but it's not going to work in the NBA, I'll tell you that. And the 14th pick, Shabazz Muhammad, was selected by the Jazz, but then he was traded to... He was traded to the Timberwolves. And, I kind of see what the Timberwolves are doing. It wasn't a bad pick, but, Muhammad's he's a little bit overrated. He can score, only if he's going left, though. And he can shoot it a little bit, but he's not athletic, and he seems like a selfish guy. But you never know. All those guys are selfish. So if he just works on his attitude, Minnesota might be a good place for him. But it might also not, because look, they had Derek Williams, Wesley Johnson, and what have they done? Nothing. Excuse me. And then the best players out of this draft I see are being Oladipo, Porter, Burke, McLemore, and McCollum. And some of the biggest busts I see is Bennett, Zeller, and Olynyk. Some of the other first-rounders I liked were Mavericks, the Mavs getting Larkin. I like Larkin's game. He's fast, he's quick, he knows what he's doing. I like him. I like the Knicks getting Hardaway, too. Hardaway, he's a slasher, he's big, he's athletic. If he gets he's a streaky shooter. But if he's hot, I can see him being a great six-man in the future. It would be an ideal six-man for the Knicks, and he might not last there. He might bounce around teams like J.R. Smith and Jamal Crawford do, but I think Hardaway will be a long time in this league. I also like the Clips selecting Reggie Bullock, long guard forward from UNC. I also like the Suns selecting Archie Goodwin. I think Goodwin, if he's talented, but he's young and he has to develop. But if he develops, he'll be a great player. Also, some of the second rounders I like were Glenn Rice Jr. He went to the Wizards. He has a basketball pedigree, and he had some problems when he was at Georgia Tech, so he played in the D-League, and he annihilated the talent in the D-League. I also like Ray McCollum going to Sacramento, kid from Detroit. He has skills, he can handle it. I think he'll be a nice bench player and possible fringe starter in the future. I also like Tony Mitchell going to Detroit. One time was projected to be a lottery pick, but his forward can do it. Step in at small forward. Detroit, if this draft works out for them, they'll have a nice core. Deshaun Thomas, I like from the Spurs. Perfect pick, will fit right in. Do what he does. If you're drafted by the Spurs, it doesn't matter where you are. You're going to contribute, as you've seen with Kawhi Leonard and other players. Some of the players who weren't drafted, who I think who are key players. Vander Blue out of Marquette wasn't drafted. I think he left too early. He might be overseas for a while. Brandon Paul out of Illinois. I like him. I like his game a lot. I saw him play in the Big Ten a lot, and we'll see what he has to offer. Michael Snare, he's very clutch, great defense. I think he'll catch on somewhere. Probably a contender. Like his game. Seth Curry, younger brother of Steph. He can shoot it. He's smart. He knows how to play basketball. He won't be his brother, but he's good. B.J. Young is fast. He was once thought to maybe be a first rounder. He's not. I like his game too. Mick Campbell, he has a lot of problems. I don't know what he'll be doing. He'll probably be overseas and out of basketball and in jail in a while. Trevor Mbakwe, it's sad to see him not be drafted. And then C.J. Leslie, I think he's overrated, not that good. Was thought to be a top 10 pick at one time. This is Jeremiah Swiss, Sports Station blog. Subscribe, like, rate, comment. I'm out.